Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to my home. In my last video, I shared some great antiquing spots right outside of Bar Harbor, Maine. And today I'm going to show you the treasures that I brought home from that great little weekend getaway. In my opinion, I have some really cool things to share with you guys.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain.
If you missed part one where I shared the best antiquing spots right outside of Bar Harbor, no worries, I'm going to actually link that above for you if you would care to look at it. I don't know about you, but I love perusing an antique store and being able to virtually tour one that may not be accessible, filled with goodies and baubles and trinkets. It's right up my alley. Now, the insides of these types of antique stores are just like amazing little time capsules, all filled with hidden gems and treasures, just waiting for their new owner to find them and give them a new purpose. You know me, I love the thrill of the hunt. I love not knowing what I'm going to find. I love not knowing what I'm going to bring home and obsess over. I love antiquing. Now, Scott and I visited our 4 favorite antique spots. We stop at these 4 places every single year. Our Bar Harbor antiquing trip is an annual event for us, and these are just 4 of the spots. There are thousands of beautiful little hidden gem antique stores all throughout the state of Maine, waiting to be discovered, and finding them is also a thrill. From my antiquing trip, I do have one regret. And it is a major regret, let me tell you. So be sure to stay tuned till the end of the video to find out what that regret is. If you love a good antiquing video, give this video a thumbs up because I am about to show you what I brought home. The first place we stopped at was on our way into Bar Harbor, and it is called 1A Relics. Scott and I just call it Relics, and this place is amazing. It's located in Ellsworth, Maine, and it's 3 floors of the most amazing and unique treasures, antiques, and oddities you've ever seen. From Marilyn Monroe greeting you when you enter to Pennywise on the 3rd floor, every nook and cranny is filled, and there is definitely something for everyone. This is what I brought home. Now, I know this might seem small, but if you're familiar with me, you know that I work with furniture. I am an upcycler. I do furniture art, repurpose furniture that's been forgotten, and I'm always on the hunt for amazing hardware, especially antique hardware. That's where my heart's at, and I love, love, love finding antique pieces. One of those great pieces that I did happen to find was this beautiful little lock. Look at the detail and the beauty on that. Isn't that gorgeous? Works great, nothing wrong with the mechanism. I paid $25 for this piece, which I know it seems like it's a lot. But if you've ever looked for pieces like this to use on furniture, you'll find that they go for around $40, if not more, especially solid, heavy brass. This is antique brass. This is an original. Now, I don't have a purpose for this yet. I don't even have... I might have something it can go on. I don't know. I have an entire inventory waiting to be gotten to, but I don't know what this was going on, but there was no way I was leaving it behind. So this came home with me for a future project, and I love it. The next gem that I found is a super, super nostalgic piece to me. Growing up, my papas had one of these, but the one that they had was an actual real antique salesman sample of this. The one I have is a reproduction, but nonetheless, when I saw it, it flooded me with so many memories I had to have it. Check out this cast iron Old Mountain replica stove with all of the pieces. I'm obsessed! I paid $79 for this, and I'd pay it all over again just to have this piece in my home. I always wanted to play with this stove in my papa's house, and I was never even allowed to touch it, This stove was actually kept in the attic. When you would pull the attic door down and the stairs would drop down, I would climb to the top of it. It would be right up there on the right-hand side on the floor, and I was just obsessed. I mean, these little frying pans. Pot. Another pot. And it even lifts up the stove pieces. That little griddle. Beautiful stovepipe on the back. The oven door opens. And my idea is to actually take a little battery operated tea light and set it in there. This one's not strong enough. This is just to show you for an example. Kind of see a flicker in there, you know? Look, it even has the little coal bucket. Look at that. How about that? I love it. I found this white enamel mail holder. I paid $18. It's pretty heavy. I feel like I've seen this in Michael's, but I'm not sure. I don't think that it is an antique. I just happen to think that it's beautiful, and I really, really love it. It's definitely a replica, and I bought this because I'm going to need decor for my new studio when that's done. And when I saw this, I had an amazing idea for a fabulous DIY that I'll share with you in an upcoming video. And all I'm gonna tell you is it's got nothing to do with mail. So be sure to stay tuned and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, because you're definitely gonna wanna see what this gorgeous enamel mail holder is gonna become. It's really cute, I like it. I've saved the best for last with this store. When I saw this in the store, it actually took my breath away. I had no idea what the price was, but when I saw it, my reaction was literally, and Scott took it right down for me to look at, and then I really saw what it was, and I saw the price on it. I was like, really? I paid $35 for this antique chandelier, and it is phenomenal. Now, I brought this outside because you just really could not see the detail in there. Look at that. So I believe the oil would have sat in there, and there would have been a globe, and then definitely there would have been something here because there's a lip. Something sat on this part as well. But just look at the detail in this piece. Twisted metal. Delicate chain work. These beautiful medallions. Look at that. Look at those. And then more detail. I mean, that's gorgeous. Even the balls have detail. Look at that. And then this beautiful, beautiful work. Something definitely hung there. Look at that. Everything about this chandelier sets my soul on fire. Now, the best part of this is up here. Spinning that would unwind this chain and make this chandelier longer or shorter so that you could actually access it to change the oil, which makes me think that this chandelier was in a very grand entrance. That's what I think. It's not doing anything, and I'm not going to mess with it too much. I have some seriously big plans for this beautiful piece. But first, I have a question for you guys. If you had found this antiquing and you brought it home, what would you turn it into? Give me some of your best ideas in the comments down below, and your idea could be featured in this very project, showcased on my channel with props to you, of course. I don't know anything about that chandelier, but it's my favorite find. I am literally obsessed with that, and I cannot wait to see what it's going to become, because I don't even know right now, but I do know it's going to become something incredibly fabulous, and it might even be one of your ideas. Now, the next store we stopped at is called Two Old Goats Antiques. That one is in Trenton, Maine, and we hit this one on our way out of Bar Harbor. That's how we usually like to do our antiquing, is on our way home on Sundays. Just about every antique store is open on Sundays. They're closed on Mondays because they're open on Sundays. Remember that and you'll never get aggravated. Two Old Goat, it's kind of like a ranch style store, one floor, but there's kind of like 5 areas for you to explore in there. So we moseyed in and found some things, and this is what we brought home from there. We bought this cast iron steamer on a rack for $58. And when I saw it, I knew I wanted to have it. What drew me to this was the fact that it's on a rack and it's elevated off of the stove. I think that's going to be better for the moisture and steam that comes out of this and what it actually does to our stove's surface, because this is what this one did last year, and now we have to use that stove cleaner and clean it all up and get it back looking good, which we will, but that basket did that. So I'm hoping that that rack, which is beautiful within itself, makes a difference elevating it off. Even the top of this is gorgeous. I feel like the water is going to last longer in the steamer. I won't have to add it as frequently, but more importantly, it shouldn't do this to my stove, because I mean, look at that. Ugh. I gotta steel wool that all up, and look at that. Ugh. So irritating. We'll see how that one is. The next item I absolutely had to have was this gorgeous wooden frame. I'm pretty sure that it's gesso that's over it that gives it this beautiful molded detail all around it. You can hear the ruse going. It's all intact. The paint finish is just yucky. The inside has a square opening for the portrait, and I'm obsessed with this one. I love the detail, I love the shape, I love everything about this. This is also going to go out in my studio, and I have a few amazing ideas with how I'm going to use this. I paid $18 for this frame. Definitely old. I mean, look at that back. Totally worth it. Next, I found this beautiful little framed print from Denmark. At least that's how it's labeled. Now, what initially drew me to this print is those eggs in that basket, and I love the fact that the print itself is kind of muted and very antique looking. It's not a fresh, crisp photograph. I love the detail all around the frame. And I think the frame itself is quite beautiful. This was also $18, and I am definitely going to use this in my French country kitchen renovation that we are still doing. It's just kind of at a standstill because I'm only one person. But I think when I find the right spot, when I get that kitchen to where it needs to be, this beautiful piece of art is going to have a prominent place in that kitchen. As you know, I'm converting that barn into my dream studio. Next up is some beautiful antique pieces of hardware specifically bought to go on my studio door, and I paid $38 for everything. First is this handle. I hope you can see that. I love this handle. It is really heavy, really substantial, but it's also really comfortable in my hand, and this is gonna go on the outside of the barn door. This will be my entrance pull to get into my new studio. I believe this piece alone was $22, but totally worth it. Look at that. cool? One of the plans for this door is it's a very big, heavy door and there's no screen to it. Scott is gonna have to build a screen, but I'll get to that in a minute. Plan to open this heavy outside door and I want to hook it back onto the building to hold it open so that way I can have a screen door there. And I found this beautiful hook for the job. I love the twist in it. Definitely old. I don't remember how much I paid for this individually. I just know what the receipt said for a total. So, and then I found these hinges for my screen door. I have 4 of them, which is plenty. My screen door, Scott is going to have to build because it's a custom size to the barn when he built the barn way, way, way back in the day. It's a very short, fat little door. So he's gonna build me my screen, and this is what's going to hold it in place. And what I love about this is the detail on these. You can see in the pieces that aren't completely covered in paint. And they're absolutely beautiful. I love them. I think these are going to be stunning in my studio, and they are very, very old, so the probability of there being lead paint on these is pretty high. What I'm going to do that you'll probably never see, but this is a tip from me to you when dealing with old hardware like this and potential lead paint, is always test it. They sell these easy kits to use so that you can test the paint on here to find out if it is in fact lead or not. So I'm going to test it to find out what it is so I'll know how to safely clean them off, because the goal is to get all the paint off of these and get them onto that screen door when Scott builds it. But oh, I think they are absolutely fabulous. Like seriously, seriously fabulous. I love, love, love them. Now, if you have been with my channel long enough, you know that Scott's passion when it comes to antiquing is old signs, and he is always on the hunt for the latest and greatest one for his collection. He has quite an extensive collection of very unique, one-of-a-kind signs, and I love watching the excitement that he gets when he finds signs. He's like a little kid. Doesn't matter where I am in the antique store, he will come find me and be like, come here, come look at this, come look at this, come walk in this space, what do you see? He just gets so excited, and that just makes me so happy because I know how it feels. I get really excited for certain things when I find them too. But he happened to have found 2 signs on this trip, and one came from this store. This is an old for sale sign from the United Farm Agency, which is a coast-to-coast real estate, it says. And it used to be in Ellsworth. It has its old number. I love everything about the sign, just like my husband does, including the patina. I think it's absolutely amazing. Yes, it's rusted, and yes, it's seen better days, but all of that is what gives this piece unlimited character. If this sign could talk, I would love to hear its story. I mean, look at that. It's rusted right through, right where the hands are. Absolutely gorgeous. Next, we stopped at a place literally 5 doors up from Two Old Goats Antiques called Unique Antiques. Now, this building is basically a really old home and garage and barn all kind of attached together. It is a giant L, and it looks pretty run down. It looks like it's been there for a very, very long time. If it wasn't for the big signs and flags that said antique, it would be a place that you wouldn't think to stop at. But let me just tell you, places like that are the absolute best places to antique in. The hidden gems that you have to dig for and look for and find in places just like this is totally worth it. I will stop at these over a kitschy, beautiful store all day long. And this is one that we visit every single year. The owner is the sweetest lady. She's 82 years old. She's been doing this her whole life. This is her home, her garage, her collections. She does go to Florida for the winters because she is a little bit older. And if you know anything about Maine, you know the winters can be real cold. So during the warmer months of spring, summer, and Falls. She's up here tending to all of her beloved antiques, and then she flies away like a snowbird for the winter, only to return again and do it all over. I look forward to seeing her every year, and I really hope to see her again next year. This is what we found in her place. I was walking through the barn to garage part. It's like a transitional hallway just filled with everything. It's really overwhelming and hard to take it all in. There is literally something everywhere, and usually there's two of something everywhere. But there was this really beautiful basket on the floor, and it had these gorgeous legs hanging out of it. And I could only see about, this much of it from, here up. But what attracted me to them was the giant glass balls with their flat spots for sitting and these beautiful brass talons that are just clinging to these balls. They are gorgeous. The period for these table legs is 1890 to 1910. That was told to me by my sweet little friend running it. And I have no plans whatsoever to use these on any type of a project. I want them for decor, whether it be in my home or in my studio, and I plan to display them exactly the way they caught my eye, in some fabulous containers standing up. I mean, come on, look at this. Look at these balls. They are gorgeous. They're huge. These are probably 2.5 inch glass balls on these beautiful brass talons. I am obsessed. I love, 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 love these. I am truly, shut the front door, obsessed with these legs. Now, she did want 120 for them originally, but I asked her what her best price would be. And because she does know us, she does remember us, we go there every single year, she gave me a price that I just couldn't turn down. So for $75, they came home with me. I don't even think I'm going to change them at all. I don't plan on cleaning them up. I don't plan on staining. Right now, I'm just going to kind of keep them as they are in a fabulous vessel. And if I don't have a fabulous vessel, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll thrift one. Now, surprisingly, that was literally the only thing that I bought at Unique Antiques, but we had one more stop, and that was also in Trenton, also just a few miles up the exact same road. I'm telling you, there's like 50 of them along this route. But we're gonna go to Country Store Antiques. Now, this building totally reminds me of an old barn with the silo, and it's almost a landmark. When I see that, I know how much closer we are to getting on the island of Bar Harbor. It's just something that gets me excited because I know we're going to shop there, and I never know what we're going to find. Now, the basement and the first floor are all antiques, and there's even a wine store in the basement. And the third floor is a reading area, reading room. I've never actually been up there. I couldn't even tell you what it looks like. If it doesn't have antiques for sale, I'm not interested. I am on a mission when I'm doing that. So let me show you the treasures we found at Country Store Antiques. Found this little Texaco doorstop for $15, and I don't think that's a bad price at all for a vintage cast iron doorstop. And I just thought, giving Scott's love of old signs and, what he does for a living, that this would be a perfect addition to our home. Doorstops are a great way to add decor to those lower floor areas without it seeming odd for being placed there. It'll definitely draw the eye downward and kind of turn a bland area into something worth looking at. I love using doorstops exactly for that purpose, and I have several throughout my home. I'm not sure which door this one's gonna go to. I'm kind of thinking the downstairs bathroom, but we'll have to wait and see. We own a collision shop where Scott and the crew repair vehicles that have been damaged for multiple reasons. Acts of gods, trees have fallen on them, auto collisions, theft, whatever the case may be. And sometimes doing the auto body also entails doing a little bit of auto repair. So when Scott found this sign, I swear I haven't seen him this excited in a really long time. But when he found this sign, he came a running. It was $290, which which might sound like a lot of money, but if you know anything about old collectible vintage signs,
Are you happy?
that's nothing. That's like a drop in the hat in the sign world. And when I saw it, I knew exactly why he wanted it. This old, gorgeous auto repair sign aligns with exactly what he does for a living and is going to look absolutely fabulous outside of his shop someplace. It is a double-sided sign. I don't believe it was ever meant to light up. There is no wire exposures. There's no hole for wires. I'm pretty sure it's just a double-sided sign that hung off of a building somewhere once upon a time, and it's absolutely perfect for what Scott does for a living and for Scott's auto body, because that's where it's going to hang. It was just too perfect to leave behind, and I knew he wasn't going to, so that was Scott's big treasure of the hunt. One of the items that I am always looking for is old books. I love old books. I love the covers, I love the spine, I even love the smell.
Are you the last person in New York still taking out library books?
I love the smell.
Oh, that's an oldie.
And I love using old books as decor in my home. I found 3 incredible books that I'm going to share with you today. The total price for all 3 was $62, which might sound a little steep, but in my opinion, all 3 of these books were worth it, and the last one is the absolute best, so maybe you'll understand the price after that. The first one that I want to share with you is called Talks to Young Men. This was published in 1888. What drew me to this book was this dirty mustard color. I really like that, especially this time of year. It's a very fall color and perfect for decorating. And then it had this really deep maroon and beautiful gold embossing detail on it. And I thought all of those colors together really made this a beautiful little old book. And the size of it is even perfect. Not too big, not too small. I will definitely be using this somewhere in my home, maybe even in my studio. Who knows? This one caught my eye with its faded Tiffany blue first, but when I picked it up and found out what the context of the book was, I was absolutely sold on it then. Notable New Yorker from 1896 to 1899. This book is filled with prominent men of New York from that time period, and it's broken down by the various vocations: financial, bankers, lawyers, doctors. There are 2,337 original portraits, and I think it's not only beautiful but actually fascinating. How cool is that? I saved the best book for last, in my opinion. I have never seen this book before, and I am literally beyond obsessed with it. I snatched this right up as soon as I saw it and was like, boom, this is mine. Currier and Ives, America. This book was published in 1952 and contains 80 prints in full color. Now, while these prints are in fact beautiful enough to come out of this book and be framed, there is no way I am gonna tear this book apart. Not for any amount of money, no way. This is an amazing coffee table book, and I just can't believe I found it. Currier and Ives. I am so happy with these books. Now, as most of you know, I am a furniture artist. I upcycle furniture, repurpose forgotten furniture, breathing new life into it. And I do that by many different ways. Sometimes I do it with paint, sometimes I do it with transfers or decoupage, napkins, you never know. But one great thing to have around for these kinds of projects is sheet music. Old, beautiful sheet music. This is great for lining drawers, using on the sides of drawers as little peekaboo surprises, decoupaging it on that furniture. Multiple uses for sheet music. Each one was $2 a piece, so I kind of grabbed a little stack. Speaking of Currier and Ives, I found this amazing set. It's a gravy boat, and I have 4 mugs, and they all feature this beautiful Christmas scene from Currier and Ives. I paid $2 for each piece, so $10 for the whole set. I love the blue color on these mugs. I actually like the size of these mugs. I love the fact that they're Currier and Ives. It just kind of seems like maybe that's going to be my Christmas theme this year. Sound interesting? Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you won't miss what my Christmas theme's going to be. I'm seeing a pattern. But I got these beautiful Currier and Ives, 4 coffee mugs, 1 gravy boat, all for my kitchen, $10. My opinion, I have saved the best for last. I paid $20 for this stack of letters and cards from the 40s and the 50s that are between a woman named Sandra and a gentleman named Bob, and this is their courtship. How cool is that? Now, I have not gone through these. I only looked to see if they were all random, and they're not. They are definitely from one person. My guess is Sandra held on to them because they're mostly in her name. But through these letters, you can watch the love story of Sandra and Bob unfold. I kind of feel like I'm invading their privacy looking at them, but at the same time, I'm captivated by them. I want to read this romantic love story because let's face it, in today's day and age, nobody writes a letter. That is a lost art. The handwritten letter is a lost art. I actually wrote about that on my blog. You should check out that post, www.she'sinaherelement.com. Everybody takes the quick way out nowadays with the use of these computers and our phones. We can send an email, we can send a text. Where's the romance in any of that? It's not even personal. It's a computer. Like, knowing that somebody sat down and took the time to write and tell you about their day, their life, their moment, their experience, their troubles, their heartbreaks, their loves, whatever the case may be, there is just something so romantic about that. And I have this entire bunch to go through. Now, I did not just buy them to read them. I fully intend on styling these and using them in my decor. An example is while they're tied up, just taking a great ribbon, wrapping it around these letters and setting it down. How beautiful is that? I love them. Well, that's my thrifting haul from all of those 4 stores. Not excessively overboard. I was a bit reserved on this trip, and I'm rather proud of myself for that. But I do have one huge regret, and that would have been the apothecary cabinet that was in Two Old Goats Antiques. It was like $575. I just didn't want to spend the $575 in that moment. However, I left and we headed home, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about this apothecary cabinet. The handles alone were gorgy Georgie. They were perfect. They were beautiful. They were heavy and vintage, and the cabinet itself was just in beautiful and amazing shape, and it would have looked absolutely stunning in my new studio, but I didn't get it, and I have regretted it the whole way home. I still regret it sitting here, and what really irritates me is when I said to Scott, I can't stop thinking about it. He's like, why didn't you just get it? I was trying to be good. That's why I didn't get it, but I wish I had, because it really is my biggest regret. When you find something that you really love, don't let it go. I know better than to let it go. I didn't think that I would have the regret I have for not buying it, but apparently it really hit a spot in my soul, and I wish I did have it for my studio. Maybe someday on another thrifting and antiquing adventure, I'll find one that I will have and that will come home with me. That's the fun in thrifting. You never know what you're gonna find. Now, out of all of those treasures, what was your favorite? You have to let me know. I can't pick just one. I have a few. I'm obsessed with those letters. I am obsessed with those Victorian legs with the clawfoot and the the big old glass balls, and even more so, I am obsessed with that Victorian chandelier. I can't wait to get it in my new dream studio, and more importantly, I can't wait to make it over and have it become something absolutely fabulous, because I guarantee you it is going to be stunning, fabulous, beyond. Shut the front door, and something you are not going to want to miss. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, I would love it if you would consider doing so now. It doesn't cost anything to join the family over here, and that way you will never miss out on a video when I upload, because I would hate for you to miss any of it, and I would love it if you would be there for the ride with me. Thanks so much for clicking on this video and spending time with me today as I shared with you my thrift haul from our great weekend up on the island of Bar Harbor, Maine. I hope you enjoyed seeing the treasures as much as I enjoyed showing them to you. Until next time, I will see you on the flip side. Bye guys.